Hey, Becky and I are really excited about an opportunity in the spring to travel together to the Holy Land. Actually, we're going to be working with Jamie Armstrong, who is a pastor in our conference and an active member in our church. He's also very passionate about the Holy Land, and he's going to be one of our guides and lead us on this trip. He's actually been working very closely with us to kind of shape a trip that would be best for our congregation. And it's the Journey Through the Bible trip. We've got some brochures now that we can look at, and we'll have some links online that we can look at. And we are inviting you, Becky and I, and Chan and Andy are also going to be going too, and they're really excited about it, to go together on this journey to the Holy Land. A lot of neat places that we're going to experience. Like on day one, we're going to be in Jericho, and I'm really pumped about that. Like, this is the place where tradition says that Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist. Then we'll actually go to Jericho. You know, we filmed the sermon about Zacchaeus in our tree right here in the front yard. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if they'll let me climb the actual tree that Zacchaeus climbed. I don't know, but it's really great. We'll go on from there to Qumran, where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. We end that day, the very first day, by taking a dip in the mineral-laden waters of the Dead Sea.
How cool is that?
Pretty excited about that.
Very cool. And that just shows you one day on this trip, and each day is full of ways that the Bible is just going to come alive for all of us that are on this trip. And I'm looking at the Galilee day. You know, so many of our stories in our Bible where we're hearing about Jesus' ministry come from the Sea of Galilee. And so we're going to be able to experience the place where we believe the Sermon on the Mount took place. I mean, think about how integral that is to our faith and to the ways that we understand how to live out our faith. So that is going to be one moment where we're going to sit and contemplate and pray and listen to that story where the loaves and fishes happened. I mean, that is incredible. And then being able to get on a boat and sail across and have worship as we sail across the Sea of Galilee. I'm just really looking forward to these moments to share with you all and with our spouses on this fantastic journey through the Bible.
Yeah, and we've talked about educational opportunities. We're dreaming about these things and getting excited about the educational opportunities that we'll have before we leave and after we get back.
Right, exactly. So during Advent this year, we're going to be going through the Journey curriculum. So we're going to be thinking about these places and wondering about them as a congregation. So we're going to be leading a Bible study before we even go. And this is a whole congregational effort throughout our season of Advent, so that when we go on this trip and we see the place where Jesus was born, these moments will be just fresh on our minds from our study together.
And then, of course, the folks who are on the trip will be experiencing and learning. But during the season of Lent, there's actually Adam Hamilton. Many of you are familiar with him. He has written a curriculum called 24 Hours That Changed the World. And it's a Lenten study that's actually based in the Holy Land. And that study, Adam Hamilton takes us to specific places. And so our trip is going to happen during the season of Lent. It's actually March the 14th through the 24th. Mm-hmm. So that's another way we want to capitalize on this opportunity is while we're there and before and after we're there during the season of Lent, be really focused on some of these things.
Mm-hmm. So. And then when we get back on Wonderful Wednesday times, we're going to have several weeks where those of us who've gone on the trip will be sharing reflections from our time together, because we want the whole church to be involved in this opportunity as much as we can. So we're going to be having several nights on each of these moments that we feel like were the major highlights from our trip together.
And while we're there, we want to, like, with live streaming and with video, like we're starting to think about what are some things we can do while Becky and I are there that actually will connect live, or at least be recordings of, stuff like us leading a Bible study where Jesus did the Mount, Sermon on the Mount,
right?
Where Jesus was baptized, stuff like that.
Right, because we'll have our phones.
We'll have our phones.
And that's all we need.
We're excited about that.
So Nick says.
Yeah.
So we're really thrilled about that. And think about the other ways that we can bring you with us. You know, we're going to be going to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, this holy place where prayer is so important. So how neat would that be if we had a bag full of your prayers that we could take with us and put into that wall.
So cool.
I mean, just there's so many ways that we're brainstorming, but we want you to come with us.
Yes, we do.
So one of the things we've done, we've actually made brochures available that invite you to go. It's got Keith and Becky's pictures right here on the front of it, and ask you to join with them. Inside the brochure, you're going to see an itinerary that's going to talk about the different days, the different places that we're going to go to. These brochures are available at the church office, but we'll also have a link that will be in a whole lot of other places, a digital link where you can access it and be able to do that, to find out more about it, but also to do the registration. There's a paper registration on the back, and we encourage folks not to use the paper registration, to go online. And so actually on the front of the brochure, and it'll be on the web addresses and everything else, the little QR code that's here, you can snap the picture of that and it'll take you right to it to go in to register for that. Just a quick word, and then I want to toss it to something else that I think Becky's going to speak about. So the published price for this, we've actually got it originating flying out of Charlotte, is $3,846. That's an all-inclusive price except for really two things. Well, three things. Okay, there's always a third thing, right? So it's an all-inclusive price except for the days that we're traveling. Lunches are not included, and so you'll be responsible for the cost of lunch. We tell people that's about $15 a day, and that actually, we go to restaurants that have been pre-selected so that the restaurant knows that we're coming in with a busload full of people. They can get us in and get us out and not interfere with our touring. Second thing that we do is we do a love offering at the end of the trip for our guide and for our driver, and that's about $10 per person per day total. So you figure on an 11-day trip, 2 of those days are going to be our international travel days, so you're talking about $90 or $100 for the tip that's going to go in there. And then the third thing is travel insurance. And so we actually sell travel insurance. The prices are on the back. It's based on what the cost of the trip is. You know, for the last year, since the Holy Land opened back up in June last year, in fact, I was there a year ago, since it opened back up, you've had to have travel insurance. That requirement has not dropped yet, but honestly, I don't know that I'd travel anywhere internationally without something like that to protect, because, you know, if you get sick or something happens, and we've had people who've actually gotten sick while they were traveling, the travel insurance picks up and covers all the costs for it. But again, it's a great price. It's a fantastic itinerary. We're going to spend the first 3 nights we're actually going to spend in Bethlehem. Then we're going to move north to the Galilee, and we'll spend 3 nights in the Galilee and then 3 nights in Jerusalem. I've been in all the hotels that we're going to be in. In fact, I know most of the staff there, so it'll be kind of like homecoming for me.
So one big question that a lot of you will have is how much it costs. And of course, the brochure, the paper one that you can get here at the church and in the office, and also the link will show you the cost, how you sign up. There's a form that you fill out. There's a lot of technicalities, I suppose, that goes along with that. But we will help you navigate through the financial side of this and how as many of us as possible can go.
Because it's really important that this trip be something that financial situation is not a burden. We want, if watching us and listening to us talk about this trip is doing something within your heart and your soul, and you feel the Holy Spirit tugging you to go on this trip, but you're thinking, I don't know how I can make it possible with my financial security, don't worry about it. Just come to Keith and I, come to me, and while Keith's on sabbatical, and let me know, and we will keep that information private, but we will make sure that we can move mountains to make sure that you can go on this trip with us.
Yeah, and some of you who have been before and understand the impact that this will have on a person's life, maybe you would like to go, or if you're not able to go, you would like to sponsor someone, or at least provide a gift that would make it possible for someone to go. So
we're excited, so let's go.
Let's do this.